Come on, sunshine. We need some solar heating. T-Rex, let's go out this door. No, this door. Come on. Yeah, this door. Come on, Rex. I know you slipped yesterday. Just go slow going around that corner. Slow. Good, good, good. Where's Steve? Already over there waiting for us? Good morning, Steve. I'm not sure where you were when we were coming down the stairs, but T-Rex was ready to go. Hours ago, really. He was ready hours ago. Steve was ready. 50 degrees. I was waiting for it to warm up. Well, not really. 9:45, October 11th. What I've been doing is digesting weather data. There's so much going on, and they're coming at us from every angle, too. It's stimulus overload this morning. The wind is relaxing. Last night when the sun went down, the wind here ramped up. How does wind ramp up as the sun goes down? Because of a pressure gradient, strengthening storm way up there near Labrador, and a high pressure system off to our west. So that low that went across southern New England a couple days ago, it stalled and it was fairly weak and included yesterday. Well, last night it ramped up. And this morning now it's down to 990 millibars on the satellite there near Labrador, expansive storm system. And we have a lot of isobars, pressure gradient. On Mount Washington last night, oh wait, spider. Stimulus overload. It's coming out for some sun. He just took off. Where's your friend over here? There's another one right in there. Stimulus overload. Good morning, spider. Hello. Coming out on the deck to greet us this morning. It's a nice day. And it actually is much smaller than it appears there. Let's go to one-time zoom. All right, that's one-time zoom. And can you hear me now? You can hear me. And never know how I'm going to get distracted. I am so easily distracted. Planes are landing toward the west again today. The wind is from the west, and we're getting on the backside of this cold outbreak. Oh yes, Mount Washington. The view from Wildcat this morning. So there's no ice or snow on the trees at Wildcat, and that's at 4,200 feet. But if you go up another 2,000 feet to 6,200 feet, another 2.5 inches of snow fell on Mount Washington yesterday, bringing the weekly total to 5 inches of snow and rime ice. Rime ice is made out of the super cooled water in the cloud vapor that freezes on contact, and it points into the wind. Great images coming from the summit of Mount Washington and everyone that works up there. The wind on Mount Washington last night gusted to 91 miles per hour. Here at my house, the wind gusted to about 30 miles per hour. So it was cold and windy yesterday. I didn't do much. I thought I was going to have just an easy and more and just call it a night, but things just kept ramping up. We'll talk about that in a while. What's going on now? There's high pressure over Ohio. There's low pressure over Labrador. And we are closer to the center of the high. So that storm to the north is going to pull out, and we have sunshine and beautiful weather today. Why don't I start with the good news, and that is the Boston 5-day with a downsloping wind and dry air. Today we are back up into the 60s with much less wind than yesterday from the west. Not expecting any sea breezes. And then tomorrow, there are going to be some rapid fire changes from north to south with a cold front. But it looks like that front is not going to get through Boston until the afternoon. But the wind is going to ramp up with that front. So tomorrow we're all of a sudden gusting back 25 to 30 with a temperature close to 70, but probably not quite making it. A nice day, though. And then in southern New England. And then on Sunday, the clouds are coming in. And when is it going to rain on Sunday? That's a tough call. The wind is going to come in off the ocean, so it's going to be cold. Temperature might not even make 60 with clouds and raw weather. Which will make it less comfortable than yesterday. At least we had some sun yesterday when the temperature didn't quite get to 60. And then it's Sunday night and Monday that we're going to see a transition back into new cold air in all of New England and the Northeast. And if you're interested in hiking for skiing next week, you might be able to, because there's been a forecast change from the Euro, which we'll get to in a moment. I want to talk about some other things first, like I heard from my sister Sandy in Sarasota. She said they lost the internet and power and cell, but they got the power back with a generator, and the internet came back late yesterday. The storm was much worse. Milton was much worse than Ian. a hell of a storm. I wouldn't want to go through that again. 3 exclamation points. 2 big oaks in the yard. They stayed up, but the branches came down into the neighbor's yard. The fences came down, but she's okay. The house was okay. And I posed to Josh Morgerman and anyone out there, why was Milton at a higher barometer stronger than Ian at a lower barometer near Sarasota anyway? And I'm sure it has a lot to do with the upper level winds and where the fronts were, but there was also a strong high north of Ian. So there's always something to learn in the weather department. And so that was, I got that message yesterday evening, and I also was getting texts from everybody, all my friends, right down the road. Greg Pisa lives right down the road down there, and he saw the Northern Lights, and I couldn't see him. I went outside, all I could see was the flag and the clouds. And then I'm getting texts from Jan Urquhart on Corporation Beach on the north side of Dennis, my hometown. She says, going off, the sky is so beautiful, Tim. What's happening? It's a coronal mass ejection of billions of tons of plasma from the sun. It's actual matter in a magnetic field that goes across the top of the atmosphere. And the National Weather Service in Indiana put out this diagram showing the reason for the different colors. The lowest color, the ionized nitrogen in the atmosphere. Then as you go up in those reds in the top of the atmosphere, 150 miles up, those are excited oxygen atoms, excited by energy from the sun that left days ago from a coronal mass ejection. Think of that as like the sun kind of, well, there's no such thing as a volcano on the sun, but these bursts of energy, expulsions of solar matter. That's what happens. It comes to the earth. It's a miracle we don't get fried by the sun. It is so strong. I joked on X this morning. I took a picture of those buildings over there right when the sun came up. And I said, you know, if there's ever a weather science question and you use the words either gravity or the sun, you're going to get at least partial credit. Why are the buildings in Boston blinding this morning? Because the sunlight that only takes 7 minutes for the light to travel from the sun to the buildings over there covered in glass, the reflection of those light waves to me. So the energy that caused the aurora left days ago, and the energy that arrives from the light from the sun, the photons, only takes about 6 or 7 minutes to get here. Physics, fun with physics. So if you use the word gravity or the sun to describe any kind of weather dynamic, you're going to get at least partial credit. Watching the birds come and go. Forget the birds, Tim. Focus. The best video time lapse maybe of your life, Rob Wright, in Portland, Maine last night. That's Bug Light with the view towards the northeast, and at the very end there, the cruise ship going out of the harbor into Casco Bay. And the name on the cruise ship, he told us, is Celebrity Eclipse. What a perfect name to have the eclipse in there. And the word celebrity, of course. Thank you, Rob, so much for sharing. The internet was just lit up with imagery last night, literally, figuratively. All right, now what's next? It is a really dynamic weather situation. All right, those birds are fishing right there. There's bait fish right there. If I were more of a fisherman, I could go down there and catch a fish right this second. Cormorants and gulls having a blast on the minnows and everything that's in the water. Show you the surface map for tomorrow. Look at that front coming right over New England. A lot of isobars here. It's going to be windy with some showers in northern New England. And then if I move the front to Sunday, that front is stalling to our south, and you see 2 different low pressure systems there. One near Pennsylvania, that's on the warm front, and another one near Minnesota. That's on a serious new cold front. And we're going to have all these fronts coming over New England, and it's going to be sort of like
jump rope where we're going to jump into the warm and then jump back into the cold over the next 48 hours. Play it forward on the Euro model. I wish I could see the top of the screen, what's going up on near Greenland. There is bombogenesis with the storm south of Greenland. Time out. I'm going to just show you the map here for tomorrow morning, the big picture map, just because I want you to see the isobars. That low near Labrador that's around 990 millibars this morning is going to be 960 millibars, looping west south of Greenland. And you see all those black lines? Those are isobars, all the way to the high pressure system that's going to be going off the mid-Atlantic states. And all the blue lines, that's air cold enough for snow. And all the red lines, that's where the air is warm enough for rain. So we're going to have wind and rain and snow all kind of coming at us over the weekend. Go back now to the lower 48 and put this back in motion. The front goes through southern New England and kind of stalls. And then if we pause it on Sunday, you've got a wave of energy in northern Pennsylvania with some rain in southern New England first thing in the morning. And then you have another low that's going to be near Lake Superior. That one is going to ultimately come into New England and then redevelop on Monday. So let's go forward again. There's rain in northern New England, and Sunday morning, a bagginess in the isobars. Pause it right there. On Sunday, now you have, Monday. Here, we're at Monday morning at 11 a.m. You have a 997 low over Lake Ontario, and you have a triple point over Boston, and occluded, you can't really make it out, but there's a bagginess in the isobars there right over Boston. So what's going to happen is that primary low is going to redevelop into a triple point low. That's where the occlusion meets the warm front meets the cold front over Maine on Monday afternoon. And this is when rain is going to be changing to snow in our mountains. And watch what happens next. The low deepens and starts curving to the north and then northwest. And then by Tuesday morning, now we have a 990 low north of Maine. That's the two lows have combined back into one, and we have a strong flow from the northwest. And we do, unlike yesterday, now have a cutoff low pressure system over southeastern Canada with air plenty cold enough for snow, with a snow level perhaps coming down to 2,000 feet in New England. As we put this back into motion, the blue lines are cold enough for snow. The black lines are isobars. Wintry chill on Tuesday. That low is wobbling west and then south and then back north. So it may snow in the mountains of New York, Vermont, northern New Hampshire most of the day Tuesday into Wednesday. Starting to release now on Thursday. That ends and we start warming up. That's 2 days worth of snow. So yes, you may be able to hike for turns. Yes, that looks like a J cloud. And yes, it's not going to last. No, it's not going to last. But a huge high pressure system is going to come in the end of next week. And there may be some record cold with that as we've tapped eastern Canada and northeastern Canada. And then that high by next weekend, we talked about this yesterday, not quite a 1040, but in the upper 1030s. So on day 10, that's a strong high. And I forgot to mention yesterday what can happen on the southern end of these highs. If you watch a lot, you know that the southern end of these highs, especially when they reach down into the Caribbean, yes, there's a low there that could be tropical storm or Hurricane Nadine. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit. That would be out around October. Let's see, today's the 11th, 10 days out. It's going to be October 22nd or so with that one. And if we look at the National Hurricane Center, it's a wave that just came off Africa, and it looks like it is that wave that may track due west, just south of where Milton is tracking due east. Amazing. And Leslie's out there. Leslie's recurving. So we may have Nadine to talk about in about 10 days. 15 minutes in, I talk about stimulus overload. You got these spiders sitting right in here. Yesterday, I thought maybe I would just show some pretty colors of my weathered last winter. chrysanthemums and some tomatoes in the garden, and I would just call it an early night because there was so much editing yesterday with that Lynx cruise. But then I'm out here just trying to mow the lawn, and all of a sudden I see a kite and a kiteboard, Rand kiteboarding, and all of a sudden there's a tanker coming in. So I got Rand kiteboarding with the tanker, and then both the tanker and the kiteboard head off toward where the sun is setting at Wessagusset. So I chased that, and I made a bunch of videos there and some time lapse. And finally I said, okay, I can call it a night now. And then I remembered the Bruins are playing. Oh my goodness, what a Bruins game. And at the same time, everyone starts texting me images of the Northern Lights. So for that reason, it's another very busy day. Fortunately, my mower has headlights. Where are they? There are headlights. I don't even know where they are, but I can mow in the dark with this cool Eagle mower. And I got 2 barrels to go into my compost pile. I also want to say hello to my sister Ginny, who I gifted a quarter of my Montauk's to back in the spring. I cut a big chunk out right there, and this will fill back in perfectly. But that big chunk survived, and thank you, Ginny, for sharing those Montauk's, which actually have a history all the way back to when we used to live in Scituate. All right, so much and more, so much more editing, and I do have other work to do. At some point, I hope to get to that. And taking care of the cats and the dogs, it's a pleasure. And we'll get a Mitt cameo in here too. Another long one today. Hope you enjoyed it. I fill my head with all kinds of data and information. I come out and I just go off the top of my head. No script, one take, to the end more from yesterday. Talk to you later. 3 o'clock. Didn't make 60 degrees today. About 57, 58. And the wind is kind of relentless, chill, and chunky cumulus. There goes the Bluefin Robotics unmanned submersible testing equipment. And the chunky cumulus clouds should be evaporating for a pretty view of the moon. I think it's still snowing a little bit on Mount Washington. Not doing a lot of and more today. So much editing lately. Kind of and moored out. Maybe we'll get a view of the moon though going down. Never know what can happen between now and sunset. Now, but a view of the cats lined up for lunch. Hey, Mitt. Want more Mitt? So patient. 58 outdoors, 62 indoors, 420 in the afternoon, and Steve loves to go out. T-Rex gets to go for a walk up the street late in the day, and Steve just comes back outside in the low sun angle of the evening. I like the way it illuminates some of the things. Walked by here a few minutes ago on the Montauk. There was a bumblebee that was barely moving. Looks like he was able to fly away. That's nice. And the tomatoes are starting to drop. And at the end of the season, walk around in there, admiring the color. And go up in here and you say, oh, look at these cute little tomatoes that I haven't seen because I just let them go. They got wrapped around a pumpkin. And find myself these little treats. They're really good, really tasty, the little tomatoes. So I'll be doing this for another few weeks, trying not to step on them. Of course, if you do, there'll be seeds next year, and that's fine. And you got the eggplant still trying to flower. They're not gonna go anywhere. Maybe that's dinner tonight right there. Oh, and here comes the low sun angle that I'm talking about. Some dill seed and weed. And these peppers too hot to do anything with, except for admire. Maybe make some kind of potion out of them or something. And out front. Oh, breaking news. Just saw a woolly bear caterpillar put down my tomatoes. Woolly bear goes into a ball. Come on, unball yourself. And this is matching up with almost all the woolly bears we've seen so far. Just a little bit of black on each end and brown in the middle. That would indicate a strong start to winter. No, not what we're doing right now. Come on, focus. And then you have a warm spell, and then you have a cold spring. Yep, typical woolly bear. Come on, open up. There's the sun. Oh man, it's chilly. Sun's going down, but something's always coming up for outdoor weather and more. Rand putting on a show for us, making it look easy on the kiteboard. Always some and more. He's like, hey, he's waving. I was looking at your kite though when you were waving. People tend to know if there's a camera on him. He's very aware. Definitely aware of the weather all the time. No. Yes. Practicing to see whether you can jump the boat. I think best to do it right behind the boat. And for your next feat of strength, why don't you see if you can launch onto the deck of the incoming tanker. Let's see that. So here we have and more. Can't plan this stuff. I was just out mowing the lawn and it came up. Invert. Stick the landing. 180. Meanwhile, the pilot of the tanker thinking, he knows we're here, right? He's not gonna cut in front of us, is he? Let's make a time lapse of the two of them. What do you say? Oh yeah, I was a little nervous. Didn't realize you were turning. All right, I'm gonna turn it off for a second, widen out, and start a new video. Okay, kiteboarder has exited stage left, which is west. Tanker incoming stage right, which is east. Let's see if they put on a show for us. Tug's assisting. I don't know where Rand went. I think we're gonna go up on the deck. Maybe we can get sunset. No, I won't be able to get the sunset if I go up on the deck because of those trees, so come over here. Run down to the shelf, see if I get there in time. I don't know how a tanker that size can put on the brakes like that. Let's see if we can move over here and get some time lapse of the Fore River Bridge going up maybe. And Rand is jumping like 20 feet every time he turns around. Launch. So it looks like the tanker's being turned and it's not going to go underneath the bridge, so the bridge has stayed down and it's going to go up. It's called the Twin River towards Captain's Cove Marina. And there's another shipyard up there. Hard to see because it's backlit. Tanker's being turned around to go into the Twin River. brakes are backed up a little bit. All right, that's good enough. I'm not gonna wait for the sun to come down below that. Try and remember to do a time lapse of the sunset, but this may be it for the day. Depends if Rand is still putting on a show over there and else, but you never know, because there's always more and more and more. Oh yeah, I forgot. Aurora tonight. Coronal mass ejection, expulsion of billions of tons of plasma off of the sun, ionizing the gas molecules at the top of our atmosphere, otherwise known as the Northern Lights. Are they going to be bright enough for me to see them here by the city? Oh, the bridge is going up. Darn. Thought I was done. Back off. Get over here. Get the time lapse on the bridge coming down, and Rand is back doing aerials right here for us. More and more and more. Want to do one more? One more and more. One more. I can barely see. It's blinding. Get that halo, iPhone ghost halo there on the right. All right, it's going down for power. Beautiful. Thank you, Rand, for that grand finale for today's and more. And of course, some more time lapse. Missed the links already. There's Yggdrasil. We were out there yesterday. Almost would have been too windy today. Ah, never too windy to sail, right? Not for Rand. It's just a fresh breeze. Yes! Bruins opening night, home opener.